Hello, everyone. I'm Colleen Vanderzyden, and this is Creating an Inspired Life. I'm very happy to be here with you today. We had an amazing windstorm yesterday, 70 miles an hour, trees down, wires down, schools closed, the whole bit. Our internet was in and out, and it's been in and out all day today, but we are good tonight. So this is awesome, and it's wonderful to be here. I'm so happy you're listening and watching. I've got a really interesting show planned. I think you're going to enjoy it. Now, to tell you just a teeny bit about myself, I'm a spiritual life coach. And as a life coach, I help people take steps to change their lives. I help people decide what it is they want to do, help them see with greater clarity what they want to do, where they want to go, if they have problems they'd like to solve or projects they'd like to complete. Any of those things, I help people with that as a coach. I'm also a psychic medium, and I'm actually going to be talking about that tonight, so I won't get into that right this second. Every week, though, here, we do a little bit of a tip, a coaching tip, and I take a couple of callers. Now, before I start on my tip for this week, I do want to tell you, if you want to connect with me, you can find me on Facebook, Medium Coach Colleen Vanderzyden, and at my website, psychicmediumcolleen.com. Now, here's a tip. I don't know if we want to call it a coaching tip, but it's a tip on being psychic and working with a psychic, because I've had some interesting experiences with some of my clients lately, and I thought it'd be fun to talk about being psychic. When people go to see a psychic, they're going because they want reassurance. They want to know what's going to happen. They want to know what the end result will be. They want to know how to get there. Everybody has concerns about their lives. We all have uncertainty. Every single one of us has uncertainty about something. And we feel like if we knew what was going to happen, we would feel better, because then we would feel more in control. So people will come and talk to me, talk to psychics and all of that to get information. Because I can work psychically, people think that I always know what's going to happen all of the time. I don't know how many people come up to me and say, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? How's it going to turn out? And it's kind of an interesting thing to be in, because it's not like I do it all the time, but things, sometimes they just happen. Now, I do want to clarify the difference between a psychic and a medium, because what a psychic does is touches in with your energy, the client's energy, touches in with that and gets impressions and feelings as to who you are, what's going on in your life, what could be happening in the future. A medium actually touches in with spirit on the other side. So we're touching into our loved ones who passed over to see what they have to say. We like to provide some kind of evidence as to who they are. And that's why, if you've listened to us before, the mediums before, you'll hear us say, well, they seem to be 67 years old. They come across very grandmotherly, all of that. So you'll hear those kinds of things. Spirit on the other side will sometimes tell us what's going on in your life here. And I found if I have a client who really does want to know what's happening here, what direction they should take or whatever, usually the right spirit will come in to help out with that. But they don't always do that. Sometimes they just want to come in and say hi. But tonight, I really want to talk about being a psychic, because I've been a psychic as long as I can remember. There have been lots of times, before I even realized what a psychic was, where I would get clear premonitions and feelings, impressions about what was going to happen. And there was a time when my daughter was young, I was coming back from a rehearsal, and it was night, and it was very late. And as I'm driving down the road with her, I see a car coming from the other direction. I can see the lights coming, and I'm just driving, not thinking much of it. And all of a sudden, I have this impression that that car is going to drive in my lane. And it was there in my head. I thought about it. I thought, oh, well, we'll see, So I'm driving, and all of a sudden, the car gets up close to me and does pull into my lane right in front of me, about as head-on as you can be. But because I'd had that forewarning, I had already figured it out in my head, apparently, because I just drove onto the shoulder and went right around that car, and nothing happened. And it was very interesting and very fortunate that I'd had that premonition. So I knew something was going to happen. I didn't have time to panic or worry. It all happened so quickly. It was just there. It was very matter of fact. There have been other times, too. When I was growing up, I'd have all these mystical experiences. I used to be able to tell people what was going to be on the test before we took it, which made me popular with some people because wouldn't you like to know what's going to be on the test? I've told people repeatedly, so I'm very careful now about this, but I've told people repeatedly when they're pregnant before they even know. So that's a little trickier because sometimes they don't want to be and, then they're not happy. Sometimes they are. There was another time I was reaching into the cupboard to get a coffee cup and I knew there was going to be a bee in it. And as I took it and I looked in it, there was the bee. So I knew it was going to be there, which is good because otherwise I probably would have thrown the cup across the room. So that saved me a cup. So that was good. I've also had the impression I had a voice come in once and tell me that a good friend of mine was going to die. So that I knew that ahead of time and I could prepare myself. And of course, when you hear something like that, and I only get messages like that for myself. I'm not going to tell somebody else somebody's going to die. But when I hear something like that, you just kind of have it there and you don't really focus on it or worry about it. I have another really strange story. I was in my backyard once and I heard this sound of things falling and all this rustling and stuff. And I didn't know what it was. And I looked over into the neighbor's yard and there was a squirrel in the tree just running around frantically, knocking down all the pine cones and going from branch to branch. And it was just really loud and strange. And as I was sitting there, I got the impression that squirrel was going to come down the tree and run across my yard towards me. And this was a good distance away. And I thought, well, that's odd, so I didn't think too much of it until the squirrel came down the tree and started running towards me and got about 10 feet away from me before I finally said, go away, squirrel. Now, that was strange. It was a very strange experience, but I had that. So I was prepared a little bit in my head because that was an odd thought to pop into my head. Who's going to think that? Maybe it was rabbit. I don't know. So it's very interesting to see how these things develop, that I've had this ability for pretty much my whole life. And as a psychic medium, what I've seen is a lot of my clients really want to know what's going on in their lives. They really want to know what's going to happen. And I've noticed the more that attached they are to the outcome, they're more attached to what they hope is going to happen, the less likely they are to listen to themselves, to what feels right to them, and the less likely they are to listen to me. And when they're attached to this, attached to something in particular, they're not open. They're not open to listening to other perspectives. What they're doing is worrying, planning, trying to control the situation. Your brain gets all in a jumble and you can't think clearly. And I do the same thing. I still sometimes will have problems and I think to myself, I really would like to know what's going to happen. And, I can step back most of the time, but every now and then I think, wow, wouldn't it be great for somebody to tell me what's going to happen? And as I was talking to my daughter about what I was going to talk about tonight, she said to me, if a psychic says what you want to hear, what does that do? And what it does is it actually affirms what you want to happen. It can be a motivator. It can motivate you to keep going in the right direction that you want to go in. It can give you a little bit of a confidence to know that, yes, this is a good idea. Yes, keep going that way. But what happens when a psychic tells you something you don't want to hear? What happens? The psychic is not creating your reality. You're creating your reality. Your actions are what's going to move you in the direction you want to go. And if a psychic tells you something that you don't agree with, or a psychic tells you something that you don't think is true, will you be open to listening to the psychic and just take it under consideration? It could be a new perspective, a new option. Sometimes the psychic will tell you something new that's coming into your life and you think, I've never thought of that. That can't be true. And then you turn out, 2 years later, you're going, oh, that does make sense. So even if a psychic tells you something, it's up to you to make your steps and your decisions to move forward as you want to. I had a client once who she was separated from her husband, and she wanted to get back together with her high school boyfriend. Now, she was of significant age, so we're talking, a long time ago. It was the relationship with the boyfriend. And she wanted to be with this person. And I told her I just didn't see it. I didn't see how it was going to work out that way. And she kept pushing me and trying to get me to change what I was saying. And then finally it comes out that she had been to 6 or 7 other psychics trying to get them, and did actually get them, to agree with her that this was going to happen. And it was disturbing to me at the time because I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I must be really wrong and all this. But she pushed it so much with them, and that was the only outcome she wanted to hear. She didn't want to hear anything else. And because she wanted somebody to affirm what she wanted, she wasn't listening to me, and she probably wasn't listening to herself either. We all have free will. Just because a psychic feels something doesn't mean it's definitely going to happen. It's a possible outcome. I can feel things very strongly, and I just know that that is going to happen. But I'm not controlling it. And if you don't want it to happen, it's not going to happen. So I can feel things like that. You have choices to do what you want to do. That client who wanted to get back together with her boyfriend, it turned out she ended up reuniting with her husband instead. And it was a really valuable lesson for me as a psychic to know to stick with what I'm getting, even if the person is disagreeing with me. It can be a little disconcerting at times because I think, oh dear. But I've learned that that's the way it has to be. No psychic is 100%. They just aren't. But they can give you possible outcomes and also can help you recognize that you're the one taking the steps in creating your life. If that client of mine had sat there with herself and just felt what she was feeling, feel her intuition, really kind of get still, she might have recognized that the boyfriend idea just wasn't a good idea. But it's really hard to listen sometimes when we have a specific outcome in mind or something we're really hoping for. I've noticed sometimes too, I get some clients come forward and they want me to tell them everything. They want me to tell them what to do, how to do it, when they're going to do it, what steps they're going to take, who's going to be there, and everything. Now, that's really not a good thing, okay? Because what you're doing, if you're expecting a psychic to tell you everything, is you're actually giving away your power. You're giving away your choices. You're giving away the free will to make your opportunities happen. Now, I personally love going to a psychic. I think it's so much fun. I think it's really great to get a different perspective from someone. I think it's really great to see what somebody else thinks and feels, because sometimes, like I said, we get stuck in our heads and we can't see past what we want, and it's good to get a perspective from someone else. Now, you have to be open to it. If you're not open, then it's just not going to do you any good. If you're looking for somebody to affirm what you want, maybe it will be right. Maybe it will. And maybe it won't. Okay, so you have to be open to see what's happening and just allow it to happen as it should. Psychic work is really a lot of fun. It very much is fun. I work as a medium mostly and touch in with spirit on the other side, but then I will go into psychic mode if I need to go in or if it just feels like I should go into it. Because our role here as psychics and mediums is to actually help people. And that is my coaching tip of the day, how to talk to a psychic, basically. So I don't know if it's really a coaching tip, but it was fun anyway. So you can reach me at psychicmediumcolleen.com or on Facebook, Medium Coach Colleen Vanderzyden. And we are going to go to our first caller, who is Denise in Michigan. Denise, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Are you looking for something in particular tonight or whatever?
Whatever.
Whatever. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, I have a woman coming in really quickly here, and she feels very maternal to me. She does feel on the older side, but not as old as I'd like her to be because her energy is kind of up to me. Okay, I do like her quite a bit. She seems to be rather stubborn. Do you have a mother or grandmother on the other side who's rather stubborn?
Yes, it's my mom, and I feel her right now.
Okay.
She's on my leg right now. I can feel her.
Oh, how wonderful. Yep. Isn't that great? I love when you can physically feel spirit. It is such a blessing. It is such a blessing. She is, boy, did she tell you what to do a lot, too? Like how to do things?
Yes and no. I don't hear her. I can feel her. She'll go to my neighbor and she'll tell her things, and she'll call me and tell me what my mom said.
Isn't that fun? Yeah, and it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because sometimes, as a medium myself, I can't really connect with my people so well. And so it is easier to have a little bit of an intermediary, if you will, to help connect sometimes. It's wonderful. You get to feel her, though. She's quite proud of you. I do have to tell you that right away.
Oh, good.
She's very proud of you. Did she have something going on in her lower back? I'm not sure if I'm feeling kidneys or hips.
I do.
Oh, okay. I love how they do that. They'll just tell me anything. Yeah, because I'm feeling stuff in there. And is it bothering your legs as well? Like,
Yes,
because it feels very,
my left leg.
okay. It feels very, a bit unsteady, I want to say.
Yes.
It feels as though you're not quite sure if it's always going to be working like it's supposed to be
Yes.
there, and there's a bit of
Yes.
that going on. Okay. She says you're pretty stubborn yourself, by the way.
Yeah, well, I learned from the best.
I think you did. And you guys look familiar. Try that again. Similar? Do you guys look similar to each other?
Yes, we do. Yes.
Because there's the bit of that going on too here. And she seems to be very, wow. She's a fun one. Okay. She says, stop grabbing. What are you grabbing when you stand up all the time? She says, stop grabbing that. Is it a table?
Oh, I have to. I'm going to be on the ground. Anything to get up. When I get up, I have to hang on.
Why is she saying stop grabbing? She's telling me to tell you to stop grabbing it all the time. Okay. Now, Here's an interesting thing. Sometimes a spirit will say something, and there's usually a reason for it, okay? They're not just telling you to do something differently. There's a reason back there. Because what she's talking about, and the feeling I'm getting from her, is the balance, the thought about balancing, and really working on the balance without grabbing onto things so much. Whether that's realistic is yet another thing to be determined. But
one wasn't like shorter than the other from sciatic nerve. Yeah, you kind of have to hang on.
Yeah, I would think so
to get going.
Yeah, because
once I start walking, I'm fine. It's just the initial.
Okay, she shows you to me holding on and getting up, but then I see you not holding on. Okay, and why does she? She's giving me the impression that you. It's such a concern that that's part of the reason why she shows that too much to me, just that holding on.
Right.
And she's talking about more of a, and I know you're quite conscious of this when you stand up, but it's almost setting the intention of I'm going to stand up and it's going to work just fine. You take that as you want to with that.
I do that, and I have tripped myself. I get up every day thinking I'm working today. My legs I go about normal, and then my leg tells me otherwise.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? I tell you, our bodies.
But I'm there to catch myself. I mean, it's
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the body is something, isn't it?
Oh.
She does tell me though that you're not an excuse maker.
No.
You're not going to use excuses as to why you can't get something done. You're going to keep going anyway. And that's a lot of that stubbornness you have, where you're just going to keep going no matter what. And she is very happy about that. Do you have a new baby in your life?
I have a grandson, yes.
Okay. Is he quite young?
He's 2. He just turned 2.
Okay, because she all of a sudden she's talking about baby, and
yes, she loves boys. She loves them.
Yeah, there's a lot of happiness there, of course. And are you really still trying to get down on the ground to play with that baby?
Yes, I did a couple weeks ago.
Good for you. You just keep going. I tell you, she is in heaven, and well, literally and figuratively, about this. She is so happy with this baby, with you, and all of that. She says she really doesn't have anything she wants to tell you, like to do or anything that's going on like that. She just really wants to just be there and talk to you and tell you how. She's talking about how proud she is of you again.
I can feel her, but I can't. I can tell when she's here, and I know she's been with my grandson since the day he was born. He follows her around in the room. He can see her too, but. Back a while ago, I had a reading, and she gave all thumbs up with the relationship that I'm involved in part-time. I was wondering if she's still fine with this.
Is this still a part-time relationship?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. She's a little impatient. There seems to be a block here with that relationship.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be a bad relationship or anything like that. It just seems like it's not really moving as she thought it might.
Correct.
and there's a lot of, well, you're also one who you're very patient, and you allow other people to have opportunity to develop on their own, shall we say. Do you
Okay.
have a high tolerance for people and their issues?
I've learned it recently.
Okay, because there
I
seems
have
to be
learned.
a lot of patience there with that as she shows it to me. And as she's talking about it too, she's actually she's encouraging more patience. So she's giving
Okay.
me the impression that it may pay off here.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me. And if I didn't feel that, I wouldn't tell you that.
Oh,
So
good.
I'd
Good,
be
good,
like,
good.
I don't know. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So stay patient a bit longer and just see. And normally, I myself, I'd be like, "What are you crazy?" But I understand where she's coming from. So just stick it out a bit longer and see how it goes.
Oh, fabulous.
Okay.
Fabulous.
Well, that's gonna be fun. Let's check that out.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I will let you go then, Denise. It was
Thank you
really
so much.
nice talking to you and your mom.
You too. Yes. Oh, my. Oh, now I'm getting really warm.
Okay, good. Oh, so she's happy
Oh,
still. Good.
thank you so much, Colleen.
You're welcome. You have a good day.
You too. Good night.
I will. Thank you. And next, we're going to move on to Carla in Cleveland. Carla, how are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm really well. I was actually born in Cleveland, so that's fun to talk to you. So,
Awesome.
are you looking for anything in particular tonight, or are you just looking for a general kind of reading?
General would be great. I'm
Okay.
scattered everywhere.
So, anybody who comes in, you'd like to talk to? You know, Go
Not
ahead.
yet. No. Not really. No.
Okay, so let's see what happens. I've got a gentleman who wants to step in. And what I like to do, I always like to touch in with spirit on the other side because it's what I do. So I like to touch in when I do have a gentleman coming in. And as he's coming in, I am feeling a lot of stuff happening in my body. And that's interesting that I did a little stutter here. So we'll keep that in mind in case maybe he had a little one too. I feel a lot of stuff happening in my body. I feel like there was a lot of either an illness or something very serious that was affecting him in a lot of ways. I do see him on the thinner side as well. And I don't feel him being very tall, interestingly. I do see a bit of gray hair with him too. Do you have someone on the other side who sounds like that you can think of?
My father.
Okay. And was he quite ill?
We didn't know, but yeah.
You didn't. Okay. Because this guy, he had a lot of stuff going on in his body. It feels as though there may have been some, I want to call it physical abuse of his body, like not taking care of himself well, that kind of feeling. Okay,
Yes.
with him. Okay, because it feels as though he's coming through with a lot of love for you. Number one, I don't know, when last time was you talked to him, but he is coming through with a lot of love. He's also coming through with a bit of apology because he's given me the impression he made some very poor choices in many different aspects of his life. Okay, not just with his health, but with relationships and things like that too. And he does tell me about that. He also gives me a little bit of a head pain right now too, and I want to bring that in. I don't know if it's his pain or if you're actually having a head pain or somebody around you. So I'll just get that out there before I forget about it. But as he comes in, there's a lot of apology here towards you. There's a lot of, I feel regret that he should have been there a little bit more because I'm not feeling a huge amount of connection here in the physical when he's here. He's a little bit wary about coming in even more because he's not really sure how you're going to take his presence here. As so okay. He's coming in very gently. He's coming in with, oh man, the love is really strong right now. He's really sending it a lot. He says you're his girl. Okay. You're his girl no matter what. That never ends. And it's still that you're his girl. And he's actually getting emotional about it now. I can feel a lot of tearing up with him. I can feel a lot of really, more than anything, anything he could tell you right now, the most important thing he wants to tell you is how much he loves you and how sorry he is. And he hopes that you'll forgive him, and he hopes that you will open up to the idea of talking to him, even if he is on the other side, that you have that ability to talk to him. And he says that there have been some conversations you have had with him since he's passed, if he is, in fact, that you think he is, that where you were not, you were angry at him, he's talking about. And he says it's okay. He says you deserve to have your anger, and you deserve to express yourself. And there is no animosity or anything like that coming back from him. And if you need to be angry at him, you can be angry at him, he says. He's actually giving you a really big hug right now. I don't know if you can feel it, but he's giving you a really big hug. And he is telling you how much he loves you. He's actually standing kind of behind you, and his head is right next to your ear. And it's like he's whispering in your ear. Wow, that's really something else. Okay. He says he wants me to tell you he thanks you very much for allowing him to come in and talk to you today, because he really, really wanted to talk to you, and he just wanted to tell you those things. Okay. Whoa. Okay. Well, that was his message for you. Wow. Okay. You might want to find this later to listen to it again. Find this recording again later so you can listen to it again and process it some more, because it seems like it was a very profound message. Okay, well, Carla, okay, I'm going to let you go. It was really nice talking to you, and I'm sending you so much love from him. Thank you for calling.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that was Carla from Cleveland. And it is amazing, isn't it, how Spirit will come in to provide just the message we may need to hear, and just the message Spirit wants to get through to us. And I'm Colleen Vanderzyden, and this was Creating an Inspired Life. And remember, no matter what you're doing, talking to a psychic, talking to a medium, whatever you're doing, be open to what's going on in your life, and also recognize you're the one creating your life. You have a good day, and I will talk to you next week.